SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Don't stop living just to do your banking. With Trustmark, you have the freedom to bank whenever and wherever you want. Trustmark. People you trust. Advice that works. Member FDIC.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mother said I was gonna be the greatest man alive.
I am not really a morning guy, but I'm in a good mood today, Lance. How you doing? I'm Scott Sands, and for Richard Cross, SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm. Another warm, humid day. I am already sweaty this morning, and I haven't really done anything physical, so that's not going to bode well. I think I might still be sweating from my round of golf yesterday.
Yeah, it looked like y'all had a good time now. So.
Always fun. I like playing in that golf league. I've talked about it here on Friday morning before. It's a 9-hole golf league of some area business people, and nobody keeps score, which is perfect.
Yes.
I haven't played in like 2 weeks. And you've seen my swing. You shared video of my swing
we even
on
caught a cuss word.
SuperTalk.fm. Right.
A cuss word on that.
And so I'm not good, and I've never been good. But taking 2 weeks off, my swing was even worse yesterday.
Really?
I played 9 holes and lost 7 balls. So I don't even know that's.
You had a case of the shanks and hooks yesterday.
Oh man, there were a group of kids. Industrial entrepreneurs setting up on one of the holes, selling balls in egg cartons, 12 balls for $5 or something like that, which was a good deal. Yeah. So and it came at the right time because I think I had 3 left in my bag. So it came that was at the perfect opportunity. This morning, got a great lineup. Kind of got a booked show today. We'll start things off guest-wise next hour with Stephen Moore. He is White House Council of Economic Advisors. News on tariffs coming in last night, which set the market aflutter in extended hours trading. I also want to talk about some of that manipulation with you, Lance, because I know you got some Wall Street experience. Secretary of State Michael Watson will join us. David Lewis, Executive Director of the Mississippi Arts Commission, and Hattiesburg Mayor Toby Barker in the 8 a.m. hour. Hattiesburg has imposed a new teen curfew to try to curb some of the violence and activities happening in Hattiesburg, and that seems to be a problem everywhere. I saw a story last night about a shootout in a Jackson neighborhood, and this is something that's plaguing the entire country right now. Did you see the video from, I think it was Philadelphia or Pittsburgh earlier this week, video from a Ring doorbell camera of a shootout from a front porch at a 4th of July holiday party. Did you see that video?
I haven't seen that one, but there's so many of those going around that it's alarming to know that people come up to your front door. I'm a big Steve Inman fan, so he does he's like a UFC announcer, but he has a Twitter handle, X handle, where he finds all the craziest videos out there. A lot of them are, perps getting shot or breaking in and getting caught, and it's crazy. But it puts it into perspective. It's just not a one-off. These things are happening.
They're happening everywhere, and I don't know that the curfew will be effective if you've got a rowdy kid. They're going to go out and cause trouble at night anyway. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. The C Spire text line is open. Before the mayor joins us, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that at 601-879-4395. You said it's hot. How do things look across the state today, Lance?
I'll say that one of the things that happened in this day in history, we hope we don't have to bring back the duel, because this is the day Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton had a fateful encounter with Hamilton getting dueled and lost that one. So I don't know if we need to bring that back. Maybe the curfew would be a better idea than the duel, but it sounds like there's some duels going on and front doorsteps, not a good thing. But as far as the weather, it's not going to make it any easier if people are upset It's hot. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be muggy. So if we start at West Point, Mississippi, today, 50% chance of showers. It's going to be about 91 degrees. Those heat index values are going to climb on up there. 99. That's as good as 120 to me. 99, 100 doesn't matter at that point. But light, very light wind, nothing really to cool things off, and maybe a quarter of an inch of rainfall, maybe a little higher in the thunderstorm ranges. So be careful around West Point today. Tonight it'll back down a bit and cool off, and then tomorrow again some more thunderstorm opportunities for you in East Mississippi. Robinsonville, Mississippi, Tunica, as most people would know, 30% chance of showers, mainly after 5 p.m. today. So got a little time to enjoy your day if you're getting out and playing a little golf or something. Heat index values, though, 103. Ooh, yeah, so not going to be cool, not much of a wind. A little better, though, in the northwest part of the state, about 10 miles an hour. You may reach to that. 30% chance tonight up in the northwest corner, and then a 20% chance tomorrow again, 103 as the heat index values. So northwest part of the state, going to be hot. And then we got Redwood, Mississippi, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. That's around Vicksburg for those of you who are curious. Mainly after 2 p.m. today, you should see the thunderstorms, patchy fog otherwise this morning, so be careful out there. Heat index values could be around 109.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you're playing golf in that today around Redwood or any of those places, make sure you stay hydrated. There won't be much wind.
Stay very hydrated. And beer is not hydrating.
Yeah. Even though it's mostly water, it's not going to do the trick with 109 heat index values. Tonight, light chance of showers. It'll cool off to about 73. And then tomorrow, about 20% chance up to 107 on the heat index value. So it's not going to make it much easier tomorrow if you're in the southern part of the Delta. Around Vicksburg over toward Jackson. Then Picayune, we all know where that is, and chance of showers and thunderstorms before 4 p.m. today, likely, and then again after that. So I would say pretty much all day. And then you got a 93 heat index values could be up to 106 over in Picayune, right off the river. And new rainfall amounts could get up to about a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit bigger. In the high-density areas. And so you got about a 60% chance of showers today. Tonight, backs down to about 30%. And then tomorrow, just slight chance of showers around noon. But those heat index values, again, in the southwest portion of the state, 106. So stay cool. Yeah. 40% chance of showers as the day goes on. So that'll give us a pretty good look at the weather. It'll be hot, muggy, and potentially very humid this weekend.
So as you're talking about staying hydrated, if you're going to be out playing golf or outside, or if you've got a job outside, certainly you're going to want to stay hydrated. But on the golf course, we know beer is not hydrating. I have not seen any studies about these other products like mom water and dad water. Have you tried any of those?
Any of those are. No, that's like way above my marketing.
I mean, it's kind of like a seltzer. I've had them both.
Okay, gotcha.
Mom water is water and vodka with some flavoring, and dad water is water and tequila with some flavoring. I'm sure because of the liquor that's in there with the water, it probably cancels out the hydrating effect of the water.
You could, yeah. I would imagine.
It's probably better if you're going to be outside than
nothing.
Than beer.
It's got to be better than nothing. I mean, I would say beer is probably better than nothing if that's all you have.
I think there may be experts who would disagree with you on that.
I mean, if you're on your deathbed, you need a Corona Premier, you can pull it off maybe.
I love the stories, though. I mean, you're a history buff yourself. I love the stories of how, in the early days of exploration, ships would fill their cargo with barrels of beer, and that would help sustain them on the long overseas voyages.
Oh, and the Spaniards, too, they traveled with wine and deerskin flasks. I mean, can you imagine hitting Mexico, the beach there, and 180 degrees.
Yeah,
and, you're in leather and metal, and you got everything's clanking around, and they go, "Hey, give me the warm red wine."
The other thing about this weather, if you're going to be on the golf course, is think in advance about your attire, what you're planning to wear. One of the guys I was out on the course with yesterday,
no Speedos,
was wearing khaki shorts. And we were all sweating so much that there was an unfortunate sweat stain in a really unfortunate spot.
Khaki and gray are not good for sweat.
Which we gave him a lot of grief about. And I also saw this study last night. This popped up on my X feed, I think, if you want to follow me at Scott Sands Media. there are actually people who enjoy the humid weather, the humidity. 77% of people feel miserable in this kind of humidity, and like half of America says they hate it.
Yeah.
But 5% of people that were in this study of like 25,000 people said they enjoy humid weather. They like humid weather, and 2% love it.
What are they?
Who are these sociopaths?
Were these like the people that they have gills or something?
I don't.
They were living in the ocean, and then they crawled out, and they're getting a little dry, so they find the most humid place in the world, and they go, "Yeah, I like it here." I mean, it doesn't bother. The humidity isn't the biggest nemesis to me, but it's the two together. It's the heat, and if you look at a roof and you just see heat coming off of it, and it's steam, that's what you're breathing. It's the combination effect, right? Don't mind the dampness. It's just when it's 100 degrees. Woo!
It's Friday, July 11th, mornings with Richard Cross. I'm Scott Sands. 7-Eleven, which means Free Slurpee Day at 7-Eleven.
Chili dog.
Also, National French Fry Day. Amazon Prime Days end today, I believe, and the Mississippi Sales Tax Holiday kicks off this weekend. We'll cover all of that and more. Some sports stuff coming up as well here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Things with Richard Cross here on Super Talk Mississippi.
What else?
And always on the Super Talk app.
Somebody named Gina is flirting with you on the text line again. That's the C Spire text line. You're looking good today.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not sure if that's the tone of the text, but that's how I'm going to read the text today. You're looking good.
It's
today,
always
man.
nice to have somebody compliment you. I've put an extra 20 minutes in today to spruce up and get all peacocked right. So
peacocked.
Ready to go, man. Ready to go.
Crystal
Friday,
Jackson said humidity is like a free spana treatment.
Yeah.
She's right about that. And of course, Bob in Starkville is right that alcohol is a diuretic. But again, I don't know. Maybe it's better if it's mixed in like a mom water, dad water type situation. I'm on this weight loss journey, and they have me drinking so much water that it's ridiculous the number of times that I have to excuse myself. Which is good. Yeah, I think you're supposed to be drinking a gallon of water every day, or some people. I know some people do.
Probably between beer and coffee, I probably am able to accomplish that. And sweet tea, beer, coffee, and sweet tea. Those are my go-tos. But I do drink my juice.
Not part of my weight loss journey, unfortunately.
Sweet tea is not in your weight loss.
And I love who's got sweet tea's not really a thing up north where I've been for a while. You order tea and it just comes as tea, and it's disgusting. But like McDonald's has a really good sweet tea.
Yeah, the one here you can pretty much eat it.
And
McDonald's
and McAllister's Deli. I know there are some McAllisters.
Yeah.
They've got the best. I used to buy that by the gallon.
That was the first place to me that they sold it in the huge plastic see-through. And they would always say, "Do you want a lemon in there?" "Yeah, throw 2 or 3 of them." "Sure, baby." And they'd throw them in there, and you'd have that big jug of sweet tea, and that was living the good life there, man. That was college age for me. It's like, let's go get a sweet tea from McAllister's.
And they're a loaded baked potato. I miss those. Those are fantastic.
You saw my
your bologna sandwich yesterday from Nona's. Is that the place?
Oh man, let me tell you what. That was
a damn good
epic.
sandwich.
Yeah, that was epic. Had the fried egg on it too. You can't go without the fried egg. So you're a little firm on the fried egg, so your sandwich doesn't blow up on you. But thick cut bologna, nice bread, fresh fixings, a little mayo, and super peppered up. So hand cut fries. That was a treat. I was getting oil changed and tires rotated and doing a little this and that yesterday. So I had a kind of little, it was a little station by station as I got closer to the house. So that was the final stop before I hit the oil change place. And so it was 842 degrees with a belly full of sweet tea and hand-cut
means
fries and a
nap time.
bologna.
That's when you engage nap time.
I tried to make it. I went into the little waiting room after about 20 minutes and almost dozed off. And he's like, "All right, you're ready." I said, "Oh, thank you, Corbett." Man, I was about to pass out over here. I started visiting with his daughter. She was.
You mentioned it was on this day in 1804 that Alexander Hamilton engaged in the pistol duel with Vice President Aaron Burr. Also, today, 227 years ago, 1798, it's the establishment of the U.S. Marine Corps. But I don't think, and if there was a Marine listening, you can correct me on this, I don't think that today is the day celebrated as the Marine's birthday. I think they actually celebrate in November.
Yeah. We would have heard something about that, I think. Y'all said the Air Force Academy officially opened at a temporary quarters at Lowry Air Force Base in Denver, Colorado on this day in 1955. So a lot going on there with the military.
79, 46 years ago, Skylab crashed to Earth.
Uh-oh.
I remember having a T-shirt with a target on the back of it because everybody was worried about Skylab crashing into us. I don't know why I remember all of that, but
what year was that?
Were 79.
79. Man, I just don't have any kind of memory of that. I was 5 or 4? 4 years old.
Yeah, I would have been 10. Older, yeah, so I'm a little bit older. I remember people were afraid, and maybe because I was a kid, I was afraid, and they hyped it up. I can't imagine what that would have been like with social media. Everybody concerned about that.
Well, and AI, too. I mean, it would have, the end of the world, everybody would have been hiding. You had Joaquin Guzman. You remember that guy? This is the day he busted out of jail, dug the tunnel, long tunnel. This is 2015. Used a lengthy underground tunnel, and a massive manhunt followed where they found El Chapo, 6 months later. Put him back in jail, but the guy was kind of greasy, like a greased pig, El Chapo, that guy was slick, man.
40 years ago, 1985, Coca-Cola said it would keep selling their awful new Coke, but also resumed selling the much better rebranded Coke Classic. It was such a big deal that at the time, television networks actually interrupted afternoon soap operas to give the
that was terrible, too. I remember
the important news that Coke Classic was returning.
It was a big deal. When they opened the new Coke, everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to be great." And then you tasted it.
No.
And said, nah. Yeah, y'all messed this one up.
They have done a great job with Coke Zero.
I love Coke Zero.
I used to be a Diet Coke guy, but if I have a soda anymore, it's the Coke Zero. I think they've done a good job with that. And you're going to laugh at me about this. I know that this month we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the movie Jaws, but it was 12 years ago in 2013 that the first Sharknado was released.
Yeah, that's
on the Sci-Fi Network.
Are you a Sharknado fan?
Oh my God, I love Sharknado. I have watched all 5 of them multiple times.
I've gotten through like 1.5. I haven't gotten through all of them yet.
And Sharknado, I think, was really what got me super involved on Twitter at the time, on X, because everybody started watching this and tweeting in real time about Sharknado because they couldn't believe how bad it was.
That was the way I took it. I mean, I remember when everybody was talking about, like, this is the worst great movie you'll ever see.
Oh, my God.
It's like the modern day, Flash Gordon, it's got all that.
I will watch Sharknado over and over again, and I hope that they bring it back for a 6th, 7th.
I mean, you've got Ian Ziering and Tara Reid in there. Give me a break, man. I mean, isn't that correct? I mean,
Tara Reid.
And you got Ian Ziering, the former, 90210. He was the old guy.
I love Sharknado. I'm so awesome. It's so stupid.
2013, that's when they rolled it out, huh? The first one. They've popped out quite a few of them in a short period of time.
At least 5. There may have been a 6th one, too. I can't remember. Birthdays today. Debbie Dunning is 59. Do you know who she is?
Does
that name ring a bell?
Yeah, no, you got me.
She was the original Heidi the Tool Time Girl on Home Improvement.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Suzanne Vega, 66. Can you name her 2 songs? Her 2 big hits from the 80s?
No. You got me on that one as well.
Played these a lot on the radio on Power 108 in Gulfport. Luca and Tom's Diner.
Yeah.
That
sounds.
I see a look of I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Friday, man. You're pushing hard today.
All right, what
you?
about this guy? I'm name dropping here, but my buddy Richie Sambora is 66 today.
Got him, yeah. You're going with all the music folks here. I mean, I thought you were going to go with Yul Brynner, man, the original shiny domed. Right. Everyone, man, played everything. Bad guy. He was something else. Seen a lot of Yul Brynner. Sailor Ward, isn't she a Mississippi girl? 69 today.
Sailor Ward is from Mississippi. I think she's from Tupelo, maybe.
I'm not quite. I can't remember exactly where she's from. But Nitty Gritty Dirt Band's Jeff Hanna, 78 years old today. Great band.
Afternoon Delight.
Yeah. And let's see. You remember who Bonnie Pointer? Somebody may know who that is out there. I was
from the Pointer Sisters, I would assume.
I figured she was a Pointer sister, but she would have been 75. I don't know which one she was. Giorgio.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it.
Well, and you sing that with a Giorgio Armani suit on. He's 91. Guy's made a few bucks cutting up some cloth. And let's see, tennis star. I don't remember her, but Carolyn Wozniak, 35, earned her first #1 ranking in October of 2010. And we got John Quincy Adams as well. I can't forget about him.
Yeah. All right, a couple of corrections from the C Spire text line. Seala Ward is from Meridian, not Tupelo.
That's it, yeah, Meridian.
And John from Hurley correcting me, Pamela Anderson was the original Tool-Time girl.
Really? Okay.
I forgot about that. So now I'm trying to picture who Debbie Dunning is. May have to Google her in the interim.
Well, don't worry.
I will be Googling Debbie Dunning, and Lance will be Googling who is Suzanne Vega. Can you play Luca for me?
Luca. Just
for reference, she lived on the second floor.
Lived on the second floor. Okay. Well, hey, Robert the Bruce, he was born on this day. Remember good old Robert?
Sure.
Yeah, he was born on this day. Actually died June the 7th at 54. So one of those that had a tight window on the birth and death there.
Part of the Braveheart lore, correct?
Yeah, I think that's where everybody knows him from. Braveheart, that's right.
That's the only that's my knowledge of history. Is from movies like Braveheart. I'm sorry. That's what I remember the most. Let's cover some sports stories here next. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. C Spire text line is open at 601-879-4395. If you missed the totals at the end of the day yesterday here on SuperTalk Mississippi, I will tell you how much money you helped raise for the Palmer Home for Children during the Radiothon yesterday. Just an amazing job by everybody here on SuperTalk Mississippi yesterday on that event. I listened for a little while and got some of my friends to pitch in some money to make a donation at the end of the day as well. So we'll give you that total next. 601-879-4395. Thanks for all the texts coming in.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
What's different about us? I don't really know.
Shout out to Dave on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. He was apparently working at Y104 radio when I was on the radio at SL100 in Hattiesburg. And back those were the great top 40 radio battle days at the time I was there. Oh, we got, we used to do a lot of dirty tricks on each other there. And,
got to.
Ironically, at Live 95 when I was on the coast against a SuperTalk Mississippi sister station, 97.9 CPR. We had some fun going back and forth in those days, too. I'm Scott Sands in for Richard Cross this morning. Radiothon wrapped up yesterday with just an amazing final total, if you missed this, $336,590 for the Palmer Home for Children. It's the 13th annual Radiothon. Just an amazing job. Listened to you and Richard a little bit yesterday morning and off and on. I didn't see you
I stay out of the
do
way,
anything as drastic as Rhino shaving and
No. I'm just they let me come in and hang out and be a part of it, and it is a great honor to just man the board and watch all the texts come in and be able to communicate with so many wonderful people. I mean, we can't do this, and Palmer Home cannot do this without the support of the folks out there that made the contributions. It is not an entity that takes government money, and the work that they do, goodness gracious, I mean, it makes me choke up even thinking about it. So I think Rhino and those guys, they were great on site, and you need somebody.
Did he have to wear an Ole Miss jersey?
Yes,
is that what I saw?
Yeah, he lost a bet. So that was the first time. I think Cross had lost the first 2 years of the bet. So this was a ringer for Cross. You know, he won that. And so, yeah, it was just a wonderful day, though. And I'm just so proud of our team here and Mississippi for answering the bell. And for Palmer Home for the work that they do and allowing us and, you know, that partnership that's going on 13 years. Just the stories of your first time there and, you know, listening to JT's stories and Paul and the impact that it made on their lives. It's just such a wonderful thing, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. So, yeah, whatever I can do, you know, if they say, hey, come here and just turn a light on, I'll be honored to do that. So. But
the stories from the kids, just how could you not want to contribute if you can to such a great organization like Palmer Home? $336,000 plus, and that number may grow. I'm sure donations can still be made, and you can get the information at supertalk.fm. Scott stands in for Richard Cross. Your morning's sports update presented by Pearl River Resort. For casino thrills, family fun, and live entertainment, Pearl River Resort is your destination. You can visit them online at pearlriverresort.com. It's that slow time of the year, Lance, where there's not much happening other than like Major League Baseball. The Scottish Open is this weekend.
Maybe so.
Wimbledon, which if you want to get into Wimbledon, I'll let you do that. I saw the female who won in the Grand Slam, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce their names.
Yeah, it's tough. I would need definitely AI's help on that. And tennis. I don't get too much into tennis, but Wimbledon's a big deal, and I'll kind of skip over that today because we do have some baseball news, and I wanted to update our listeners. You know, as we get close to high school football, it's not very far away, about a month and a half. Big changes in the MAIS as far as classifications go. In the past, you've had basically 5 teams in the top classification. That changed. So this is going to be a really interesting year for the MAIS schedule. With Class 4A now, you have Bayou Academy, Jackson Academy, Madison St. Joe, Magnolia Heights, Pillow Academy. Those are all in a district together. That's going to be District 1 4A. So basically, the whole 4A, which was 5 teams, has now been completely changed. So this is going to make for some interesting games this year. In that District 2A, you got East Rankin, Hartfield, Heritage, Lamar, and Starkville Academy. Okay, so that's your 2. And then District 3 4A, Brookhaven Academy, MRA, Park Lane, Simpson Academy. So, again, very different kind of setup here. And then the District 4 4A, and that'll be the last district in the 4A kind of ranking there. But you got Cathedral, Copai Academy, Jackson Prep, Oak Forest out of Louisiana, and then Silliman out of Louisiana. So we'll have a blast with this because I don't think any of us know what to expect with the new classifications.
That make the games more competitive,
or
does this give any of the schools an edge now?
The top 4, I would say, maybe 5. You had Hartfield Prep, MRA, JA, and Madison St. Joe. Presbyterian Christian, who was in that grouping, left private school ball to play public school ball this year. So they're a private school out of Hattiesburg. They'll be playing public school ball this year. So, but the others stuck around, and and then so you bumped up a bunch of 3A schools into 4A. So, to your question, I have no idea what to expect because the 4 teams last year that really dominated in JA, MRA, Prep, and Hartfield were very good. I mean, it's you could have played a lot of different public schools that are very talented, and those teams would have held on or beat them, as they showed in many cases. So I'm not sure how some of the teams that are bumping up are going to be able to handle year one. But it will make it interesting, I would say, as we get further into this, a couple years in, as there's an adjustment phase, because this is going to be a very unique, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. But at the same time, I think some of the scores may be a little bit crazy. So if you're wanting to watch a very, first-time type of experience, the 4A level of Academy will be extremely compelling this season. And then you got
do you see them on, just out of curiosity, do you see St. Patrick from the coast And I'm curious where they are. My alma mater, St. John, closed down like 10 years ago.
I'm not sure where they are. I'd have to sift through a bunch of them. I'll find
thousands of schools.
Yeah, there's a bunch. And then in Class 7A in public school, it's been a little shifting around. But, because there was always that. You had some of the best teams that were seemingly stuck in the same district that were beating up on each other. And so they've spread that out a little bit more, too. So different classifications this year, but mainly the MAIS was the big one you want to pay attention to. So I wanted to mention that as it should be a lot of fun, and we're getting close, too. So you'll start seeing a lot more. The other side.
The good news, too, if we're a month away from high school football, we're only about 55 days away from college football.
Yeah, 28th, 29th of August will be your kickoff for most everybody. And whether that's going to be public school, private school gets started about a week earlier. So, that usually they get a kick start to jumpstart the season, and they'll finish usually a little quicker, too, so about a week. So, yeah, you get to look forward to the third week of August as MAIS schedule gets kicking, and then the final week of August you'll have everybody else rolling in, and so it should be a lot of fun. We're getting there, though. But we'll go. We digress a little bit. I wanted to talk a little baseball though, because it's kind of a big
real
day.
quick. I got to stay with football for just a second.
Man, knock it out, dog.
Did you see the proposed Saints alternate helmet?
Oh no, haven't seen that.
All right, look that up, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And somebody on the C-Smart text line from the coast said St. Patrick plays 3A.
3A, okay, yeah. I haven't gotten through everything yet. It's trying to go one at a time and really look at these schedules and get a better idea. But I'll be getting there as we get closer to our Friday night, Farm Bureau scoreboard show, which is a lot of fun. But on this day in 1914, George Herman Babe Ruth played in his first Major League Baseball game for Richard Cross's favorite team, the Boston Red Sox. What a franchise, huh? 14 titles as far as American League, won 9 World Series, founded in 1901. The franchise was known as the Boston Americans as it came out. One of the 8 charter members of the American League team played at the Huntington Avenue grounds from 01 to 11, moved to Fenway Park in 1912. One of the great things about Fenway is, when they built it, I guess they weren't using a ruler or a tape measure. They were just eyeballing it because the wall is 37 feet and 2 inches. Like, how did they, let's add that 2 inches extra.
Just random.
Yeah, just a little random there. But so, eventually they traded Mr. Babe Ruth. And, but, they played with some dudes now. Boston enjoyed immediate success with Cy Young. They beat the Pittsburgh Pirates in the very first World Series, won a few more. Had people like Tris Speaker and pitcher Smokey Joe Wood. But there was one guy named Babe Ruth that came up in 1914.
I've heard of him.
So they had a run there, but they got rid of the Ruther. And, that was one of the stories of all time. The biggest or worst trade was you traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees, your nemesis. But the good thing here, a little breakdown of the top players in Major League history as they rated them. Roger Clemens, he comes in at number 10. Honus Wagner, 9. And then you get down to Stan the Man Musial at 8. Let's see here. Ty Cobb comes in at a 7. And Walter Johnson was 6. Hank Aaron comes in at number 5. Ted Williams, 4. That's I don't know. As you get up into the top 5, it's Barry Bonds, the largest head in baseball, number 3. And then who do you think would be number 2? Out of 2 left, you got 2 to choose from. The 2 best left.
I would not be able to venture a guess.
Willie Mays, number 2.
Willie Mays, okay.
And then finally, the man himself, Babe Ruth, comes in at, even now, the greatest baseball player in the history of the game.
Where was Hank Aaron?
Hank Aaron was 5. Yeah. Willie was 2 and Hank was 5. Barry Bonds was 3.
One of the Mobile guys from where I was born. Thanks, Lance. We've got your Mississippi lottery information coming up next. And Economist, White House Council of Economic Advisors member Stephen Moore will join us right after the top of the hour. Big tariff news last night from President Trump affecting the markets, and we'll talk about the whole tariff deals and how they may impact the economy moving forward. Next hour here on SuperTalk Mississippi, streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm.
From the Venable.
From Sumner to Summit to Summerall, Richard has something for you. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Mississippi lottery information here on Mornings with Richard Cross. Scott Sands in for Richard in Super Talk, Mississippi. No jackpot winner in Lotto America. Next jackpot is tomorrow night, $2.7 million. Cash value, $1.23 million. The Wednesday night numbers, if you missed them real quick here. 2, 10, 27, 30, 50, Starball 5, and bonus multiplier was 2. No winner in the Powerball either. The jackpot for that tomorrow night, $234 million, $106.6 million cash value. And the Wednesday night numbers, 5, 9, 25, 28, 69, Powerball 5, and the multiplier 2. I think you've got double play and Mega Millions numbers.
Yes, sir. Double play numbers from Wednesday, July the 9th, 24, 40, 51, 52, 61, Powerball of 17. And you didn't have a jackpot winner yet on the Mega Millions. The estimated jackpot for tonight, Friday, July the 11th, $80 million. You get to take home $35.8 million. The numbers from the Tuesday drawing, 4, 6, 38, 44, 62, and a Mega Ball of 24.
The jackpot tonight in the Mississippi Match 5, now up to $480,000. Last night's numbers, 2, 19, 20, 22, 28. That Mississippi Match 5 jackpot is continuing to climb fast. Now almost at that $500,000 mark. In June, a $1.2 million jackpot was hit in Columbus, and days later, another player in Columbus got $52,000, which means go buy your tickets in Columbus, I think.
Columbus is rolling.
Maybe. Or maybe Columbus has been overhit. Don't miss your chance in the Mississippi Match 5. It's the only in-state jackpot game. Nightly drawings at 9:30. You can get your tickets now from any Mississippi lottery retailer and get on that action. And if you enter any non-winning hot game, like the $2 Heat Stroke, $5 Blazing Hot Bucks, and $10 Red Hot Cash into the Mississippi Lottery's new bonus promo, Sizzlin' Summer Cash, got a shot at extra prizes, $500 to $25,000 in cash. Next bonus drawing for that is Wednesday. MSLottery.com, MSLottery.com, and click the bonus promos tab for details. Few winners yesterday around the state.
Yeah, there's a few of them. We were busy raising money, and some folks were winning some money. Cash 4 winners, a Centerville woman, $2,700 on a ticket from Best G's in Centerville. Then you had a Match 5 winner, a Taylorsville woman, won $1,000 on a ticket from the Walmart Superstore 1192 in McGee, Mississippi. That's where all my people are from. Been in that Walmart many a times. There's a great Ward's right out in front of it if you're ever looking for a great chili burger after you've gone into your Walmart. So just in case.
Awards.
I love awards. And Mega Millions, $1,515 in winnings on a ticket from Spillway Chevron in Brendan, and that was purchased by a Carthage man. So right up the road. And
200X cash blitz winner, sure. Tyler Town man won $1,000 on a ticket from Tobacco Mart in Brookhaven, and a New Albany man won $2,000 on a ticket from Tony's 2 in Albany. Those are your Mississippi lottery winners across the state from yesterday. MSLottery.com for all of the information. Did you Google the Saints helmet?
I haven't yet. I wanted to finish the conversation though on the top 10 because we had a couple of folks got read as a summer wasp regarding the Barry Bonds being in there instead of Mickey Mantle. Now I agree
because of the whole
Barry,
steroids controversy, right?
Yeah, Barry had a great career before the steroid use. Okay, so I mean, was he going to be a Hall of Famer before that? Probably. The home runs didn't hurt, but to take Mickey Mantle out and have say a Barry Bonds in as the top 10 players, I agree that's a very difficult choice to make. I would have gone with Mickey Mantle. I'm a huge Mick fan. But, Barry Bonds had an amazing career and really was kind of the poster boy for the steroid era. We hadn't seen home run hitting like that since, Ruth hit 60 and 59. And before Ruth even came in, it was, I think 27 or 28 home runs was the league, as far as the max anyone had ever hit. So it took about 7 years for Babe Ruth to hit 59. So Babe Ruth changed the game. Now, I mean, what those dudes may have been taking or not taking back in those days, I don't think anyone knew. They were smoking cigars and eating, 6 packs of ribs over in the dugout, so who knows? But I'm with you. Mickey Mantle, I would have had in there instead of Barry Bonds. But that's me.
All right, we'll get back to the Saints helmet then when you've had a chance to look at it so you can share your opinion.
I'm about to
Scottish Open is underway. It's round 2 today at the Scottish Open. I see some fan favorites in the top 10. Fitzpatrick is up there. McIlroy is tied for 5. Schauffele is tied for 5 as well. Straka is in the top 10. And American Goddard.
Who?
I don't know. I don't know who this is 9 under in the second round and 11 under overall. Chris Goddard. I'm not sure I've heard that name.
Well, I will say this. I did look at the Saints helmet. I like it, man. That adds a little flair to the old design, which I wouldn't say was getting stale, but it's always nice to have a little bit of a polishing, The white ones look sharp, too.
It does look. I don't hate this. It's got to be better than the black helmet, though. The Saints have gone 0-4 wearing the black helmets.
Quit wearing that.
So just to retire that one, and let's see how we can do with the white helmets next. Stephen Moore, White House Council of Economic Advisors, joins us next to talk about some tariffs.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Morning, partner. The sun is up, the coffee is on, and you're starting your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross, here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
I came here looking for something.
This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross brought to you by MWG Employer Services. Running a business is tough, and if you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone, and that's where MWG Employer Services comes in. They can provide a full range of employer services and a custom plan that fits your needs. Call today at 601-206-7966, or you can go to MWGEmployerServices.com. This hour of Mornings with Richard Cross brought to you by MWG Employer Services. I'm Scott Sands. And for Richard this morning, we keep getting questions on the C Spire text line about yesterday's 13th annual Palmer Home for Children Radiothon. Final total, if you missed it last night, $336,590. So thank you so much for all of your contributions to an amazing cause. Lance, I know you worked on Wall Street for a while. Last night I started to get text alerts like around about 7:55 last night on the way home, that there was an aggressive sell-off and just unusual volume on the NASDAQ futures, which dropped about 100 points, a full 15 minutes before President Trump announced new tariffs on Canada, Europe, and the rest of the world, reaching a bottom about 4 minutes later at 8:10. So just kind of some unusual activity. Somebody knows. The smart money always seems to know. And last night, President Trump raised tariffs on Canadian imports to 35% effective August 1, complaining that Ottawa had retaliated with duties against Washington. We'll talk about that and the economy in general with Stephen Moore, former member of President Trump's White House Council of Economic Advisors. He's joining me now. Stephen, great to have you on the show.
Hi, Scott. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I'm not a big tariff fan, but I understand what President Trump is doing here. Your thoughts on these tariff announcements, which seem to be coming out one way or another on an almost daily basis?
Well, what we've discovered over the last 4 or 5 months, Trump has served his second term, and the pattern has been pretty consistent, that every time Trump comes out with an announcement of new tariffs, as happened last night, the market goes down. And remember mid-April, it was like I was standing on the ledge ready to jump. I mean, the Dow had fallen by like 1,500, 2,000 points. And then what happens routinely is that Trump then announced a trade deal with these countries that lowers tariffs. And guess what? The market bounces right back. I mean, look, I'm super bullish on the U.S. economy right now. I think we're just prepped for a huge prosperity in this country with Trump in the White House. With we as you know, we got the big beautiful tax bill done. Thank God, that was huge for our economy. And now we've got this. It looks like I think that we're going to see a series of trade deals. There's some talk now that the Europeans will lower their tariffs on U.S. products to 10%. Which would be a big reduction, and we will reciprocate with 10% tariffs. That's a very big improvement. So you're right; it's always a rocky road to get to these trade deals, but I think Trump will prevail.
Where are all of these trade deals that were supposedly on President Trump's desk? Is this just one of his negotiating tactics?
Yeah. The tough one, Scott, of course, is China, and that's the big enchilada here because China obviously is trying to replace the United States as the world economic superpower. I don't think that's going to happen, but they are the second biggest economy in the world. Europe is more and more in decline all the time because of their socialistic policies. And so I don't know where that is, frankly. I mean, Trump said he has a deal with them, a handshake deal, but I wouldn't. They're like the old Soviet Union. I wouldn't trust them as far as I can spit. So you have to make sure that they actually stick to these deals. But I think we've got a good deal in hand with the UK. I think we've got a good deal in hand with India. And I think but people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize that our two biggest trading partners are Canada and Mexico. So it's really important that we get those two trade deals locked in. I've always been a fan of the idea of the North America being one big free trade zone. That was Ronald Reagan's vision. And, we need to make sure that these countries aren't cheating. But I think it'd be great think about it. If North America were one big free trade zone, we could be the energy capital of the world, the financial capital of the world, and so on. So that's where we're at right now.
We're talking to Stephen Moore here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Other economists even have suggested that tariffs will increase prices, and that tends to make sense. I'm not an economist, but we haven't seen inflation spiking significantly in the CPI as of yet, anyway. So why do you think the inflationary impact of tariffs, including those on Canada, has been delayed?
Well, that's a good question, and there's no doubt about it that look, if you raise a let's say tariff on steel, the price of steel is going to go up, right? I mean, it's math. If you put a tax on it, that's going to get passed on to the consumers for the most part, not entirely, but most of it will be. So you would expect an increase in, say, steel prices if you put a tariff on steel. What all of the Trump critics have forgotten is that Trump is cutting other taxes. I mean, we just passed a major tax bill that's going to reduce taxes. So when you reduce taxes, good things happen for the economy. I mean, that's been the pattern for 100 years. Every time we've cut income taxes, we see more economic growth, we see more jobs, we see more prosperity. So if you just raise tariffs, yes, you would expect that to be filtered into higher prices. But if you're raising tariffs on things that are imported in the United States, but lowering the cost of things that are made here, then it's a wash, and that's why you haven't seen much. Look, Scott. There's a reason they call people like myself and Larry Kudlow and Art Laffer supply siders, because we believe the best way to bring inflation down is to increase the supply of goods and services. I mean, it's very simple. If you increase the supply of apples, the price of apples goes down. It doesn't go up.
So, Stephen, the other side of this conversation has to be the Federal Reserve. Unfortunately, they've held interest rates steady since December of 2024, and Jerome Powell has kind of said the uncertainty around tariffs is the reason why he's not lowered rates. Been a thorn in President Trump's side. Should the Fed be cutting rates sooner? I know that the speculation is there may not be a rate cut this year. I just put $10 on Kalshi that there would be a 25 basis point cut this year. Big payoff if that happens, and I think it will. I think the Fed is going to have to buckle to some of this pressure from the Trump administration at some point.
Well, Donald Trump, I know Donald Trump very well. I've worked as an economic advisor to him for many years, informally, and so I know the way he thinks, and he likes low interest rates. He's a real estate guy, right? Real estate people love low interest rates, and I always have to tell him, Mr. President, you're right. Low interest rates are a good thing, but look, the Fed does not set interest rates. Interest rates are set by the market. It's the law of supply and demand, the supply of credit and the demand for loans, and so. The problem is that if you lower interest rates too much with the Fed, you're pushing money into the economy. And as you know well, what is inflation? Milton Friedman taught us this, 50 years ago. Inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods. So the warning I would give to Trump is that if you lower rates too much, you're flushing too much money in the economy, and then you're going to have inflation. And the one thing Trump has to do to succeed is make sure that we don't get a recurrence of Biden inflation. The reason Democrats got wiped out in the election in 2024 is Americans hate going to the grocery store and paying their utility bills and going to the gas pump and paying higher prices. And that's what happened under Biden. So I guess my warning side would be, we all love low interest rates, but the solution, wouldn't it be wonderful if every country could just be prosperous by printing money? But that's not.
Well, it doesn't work that way. I would be just as prosperous if I could print my own money.
Exactly. So I think that you could make a case. I do. By the way, I do think they're gonna lower rates at the next meeting. I think it's probably. I bet the odds at 75% on that. But I just want to make sure people understand that the Fed. Cannot create prosperity by printing money. It's not. I wish it were so, but it's not. And the Fed's job should be one thing and one thing only: keeping the price system stable. And they didn't do that under Biden. I think that Jerome Powell will go down in history as one of our worst Fed chairmen. He allowed inflation to go up to 9.5% in Biden's first year in office, which has wrecked the economy.
He truly has been too slow in reacting to economic indicators.
He's too late.
Too late.
Let's some call him Too Late Jerome.
So, Stephen Moore, I got about 30 seconds here. Powell has warned of stagflationary economic growth slowing to 1.4%. Unemployment may go up to 4.5%. In Jerome Powell's words, can the Fed do anything to mitigate these risks at all?
Yeah, the Fed can keep the dollar stable in value. One thing that worries me a little bit is the gold price is rising. That's always a bad sign, Scott. Whenever you see the gold price rising, that means people are rushing to safety. Now, I'm going to end this by what I started with. I'm super bullish. I think this is the most pro-business, pro-taxpayer, pro-economic growth president we've had maybe in my lifetime, even including Ronald Reagan. So this is a good time to invest. It's a good time to invest in America. And as Reagan would say, this is morning in America, and I really believe that.
Meanwhile, gold is up. Bitcoin hitting new record highs, $118,000. Dollar having its worst year since 73.
That worries me a little bit.
Yeah. Stephen Moore, it's great to catch up with you. Thank you for your time.
Anytime, Scott. Let's do it again soon.
Scott Sands in for Richard Cross. SuperTalk.fm streaming everywhere and across the state at SuperTalk, Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
Where you're from, Happyville, Batesville, DeIberville, or any other ville in the SIP, you're starting your day off right. Mornings with Richard Cross. Super Talk, Mississippi.
Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep. Show me how this town shattered dreams.
I hate to ask a stupid question, Lance, but what is a slug burger?
Oh, man. I can't believe you don't know the answer to that, bro.
I am ashamed to admit I don't know what a slug burger is.
Well, back in the Depression era, when meat was hard to get to and very costly, dough was not as hard to find. So you mixed a little dough in with your meat, and then you either flat ironed it or you the good old black cast iron skillet, or you fried it, one or the other, however you wanted to do it. Some drop it in the deep fryer as a hamburger patty mixed with dough. Some will grill it on a flat iron, and some will do it on the, the big, lodge style cast iron So basically, it's just a hamburger with dough added to make the meat stretch, but it has a crispy deliciousness to it. Usually, you'll have a little a little mustard and a pickle and a little slice of cheese, and they're usually not very big burgers. They're kind of like what you'd consider like a burger from the old days, not the huge, custom gourmet burgers.
So,
they're made for crushing,
like a smash burger. And
well, it's the original smash burger. Yeah, I'd say, they're bigger than a slider. They're like the original McDonald's, like single. It's not going to be a very big burger, but it's a perfect mix of grease, bread, and meat.
Sounds like the perfect hangover remedy.
They're great, man.
I don't think I've ever had a slug burger.
There's a place in New Albany. It used to be, and like one of our said, it was mostly pork back in those days. Now today, they'll use red meat and different things, but the original slug burger, red meat wasn't even available. So the pigs, you use pork mostly, and so they're very unique and to me a delicacy if you're from the northern part of the state, especially northeastern part of the state.
So is it just a regional thing in the state?
Yes,
maybe
Northeast.
That's why I've not had one.
Yeah. Where you're from on the coast, they have no idea what we're talking about. It's a dough burger, as one of our listeners says, but it's more known from about New Albany, I would say, if you're in the New Albany area, all the way up to the hill country, up toward Pickwick, going east and northeast. So that's your hotbed for slug burger. You got a big slug burger festival up there. I believe it's in Corinth.
Yep, and today, and that's why I asked the question, because Sports Talk Mississippi will be there in Corinth today for the Slug Burger Festival.
But you can't eat one. You'll eat way more than one. They're amazing.
I would love to try. There's probably no way to ship it to me, but I would love to try one. I'm not sure. About to try to make it.
No, they're not hard to make, buddy. Delicious. They're really not. I mean, go get you some. I mean, if you want to use red meat, you can, but again, take pork, shredded pork, and you can even use chicken, and mix it all in with dough, and then fry it up like a burger. However you want to do that. Peanut oil is very good to use in a cast iron skillet, but many Latham's is my favorite. I was trying to give you my favorite. Now there are others that are really good at this, but Latham's in New Albany. I was a once a weeker at that place for a while. Yeah. And it wasn't like one burger. It's like, give me 5 of them. Give me 6 of them.
Probably not the healthiest life choices you're making, Lance. Yeah. And not on my diet either, but I would definitely try one. Walter in Tupelo said that the difference between a slug burger and a dough burger, the dough burger is beef, water, and flour. Mm-hmm. A slug burger is pork and soy.
So, and again, the soy, I'm not sure. I'm no expert. I've eaten every version of them you can have, and I'm a huge fan of them. I remember growing up, JT would talk about them on air, and as a kid, I was like, "What is a slug burger?" And finally, I finally had one. I'm like, "Oh man, what have I been missing all these years?
Been missing out."
Gracious!
So I need to try a slug burger, a dough burger, and the bologna sandwich from Nona's need to be on.
Definitely
my cheat day food list. So Sports Talk Mississippi will be there at the Slug Burger Festival this afternoon.
Well, and as one of our listeners says, from up here in the hills, we never use pork. But way back in the day, that was the model, I think. But there's many different recipes today, and you should try all of them. Definitely.
And speaking of Sports Talk Mississippi, they'll be in Atlanta Monday for SEC Media Days, which means we are even closer to the college football season. Live from SEC Media Days, brought to you in part by Pearl River Resort, Trustmark Bank, Cannon, Ford, Lincoln, and Starkville, Cleveland, and Pascagoula, Covington County Hospital, Mississippi Farm Bureau, and Genteel Apparel. I can't wait to hear what the guys have to ask of the Mississippi State and Ole Miss coaches, and of course my Alabama Crimson Tide and Auburn. There was a great line on. I'm going to admit that I saw this show. I'm sure you don't, and probably I'm the only guy on SuperTalk Mississippi that will admit to having watched Love Island. Mm-hmm. But one of the girls, I think, is from Alabama, and the guy asked if she was an Alabama fan, and no, she's an Auburn fan, and I think they broke up because of that.
Yeah, well, it happens, Be able to see eye to eye on these things.
It does.
Football season can get very testy, especially I lived over in Alabama for a while. That's a unique relationship between Auburn and Alabama. We think ours can get toxic here, but I don't know.
Well, the whole reason that I'm an Alabama fan is because my dad was from Fairfax, Alabama, which is just next door to Auburn, and was an Auburn fan. So, that was my youth rebellion, was being an Alabama fan instead of an Auburn fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're assigned one team or another at birth if you're born in Alabama.
Well, I grew up an Alabama fan because of Bear Bryant, and I love football. My dad played football in college. My grandfather did, and they were very good, and that was kind of the path I wanted to go. But as we weren't the best in football, and I realized that I'd be a little behind on the the learning curve as far as reading, more complex defenses and such, because we just didn't do that stuff back then. So I kind of migrated to baseball, but was always a huge Alabama fan, always. And then when Jim Carmody at Southern Miss went over and beat the Bear, and was about a month later he passed away. And I got to know Jim Carmody really well over the years, and I absolutely loved the man. And he reminded me of my father. They had this very these glowing blue eyes, and they would just stare at you. And so, but he knew my father, and so I always loved football, just loved it. And when Bear passed, that kind of broke my heart, but went to Auburn and played baseball and really kind of saw what that was all about, man. My freshman year went undefeated. We were on probation and had guys like Stan White and James Bostic and just this team of guys that had not played very well under Pat Dye, but going undefeated on probation in Buster Brown's first year, that really opened my eyes to the power of college football outside of the state of Mississippi, and to see 80-something thousand fans back then when Ole Miss was getting 40, and it was just like, oh, what did I step into? So I think we've caught up a bit here in Mississippi, but man, it was a rude awakening freshman year of college going to Auburn and going, what is this? This is football, man. Yeah, it's a whole different experience here.
And I definitely remember the year Southern Miss beat Alabama, because I was in high school on the coast and came in that week wearing an 86 Alabama shirt for school pictures, and all of my friends, Gary and Michael and Jeff and Ron, were giving me a lot of grief about their team, Southern Miss, beating my Alabama Crimson Tide.
I've got to go back and see. Was that 86? What year was that? 82. It was 82. Yeah, 38-29. I remember we were driving to McGee, Mississippi to see the grandparents and listening to the game as you had to do back then. And it was one of those where my parents went to Southern Miss. A lot of my family did. So we were always, anytime Southern played Alabama, it was like, that's the big deal, And beating them was a big deal, And so I remember us going over to the Birmingham Stadium, Legion Field. Yeah, and went to a Southern Miss Alabama game over there back when Alabama would play neutral site games. And but it was just seeing the Alabama was the cream of the crop even then in the 80s. You had Bear Bryant.
And I'd like to point out they still are.
Well, to many people they still are. I mean, I like Kalen DeBoer. I think he's going to do a good job there. He's a great coach and has recruited
I'm very disappointed
well.
Surprisingly, and I think Saban is still involved with that. I'm very disappointed that there's no Bama Ole Miss game this year.
Yeah, that's weird.
That new rotating SEC schedule. We've still got the rivalry games in the SEC, but Ole Miss and State get rotated out every couple of years.
I'm not a
fan of that.
Yeah, going through the schedules. I mean, if Ole Miss can get 8 W's before a bowl game this year, I think they've really done well. Now, that's not taking away from, you got a lot of new guys. You're plugging in players from all over. Now I know they've hit well the transfer portal, but I think a 9-win with a bowl, 10-win with a bowl season would be a very good staying, a bookmark for. I mean, if you look at what Jackson Dart did over the last 3 years, he set every record possibly at Ole Miss. So I mean, it's hard to replace that. And I don't know, man. It's going with the way the D1 football, and especially SEC and big boy ball goes, who knows? Everybody's going to have a chance. And Ole Miss gets out of the gate quickly in week 2 with Kentucky.
Continue to expand the college football playoffs, which I'm not a fan of either.
The 11 plus 5, I kind of like it. But, I mean, the way it is now, it's not inclusive enough in my opinion.
And we'll see some more conference shakeups too, I'm sure, in the next couple of years. So my whole Slugburger conversation kind of derailed where I wanted to go this segment, but that's fine.
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
Got to talk about food. No.
Well, we're getting close to football.
And by the way, just to mention this quickly, I know this is a national chain, but everybody's very excited. The snack wrap is back at McDonald's.
Snack wrap. Yeah. Wait till the McRib shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe how much chatter there is on my social media feed. People excited that the snack wrap is back.
That's not one.
It's a tortilla and a chicken tender. You can make it at home.
Make that at the house, man. For $5.
Cheese, some lettuce, it'll be fine. It's delicious. Don't get me wrong. It's It's weird to see how many people are excited about the snack wrap today. And free Slurpees at 7-Eleven on 7-Eleven Day, July 11th. Mornings with Richard Cross from Scott Sands. Secretary of State Michael Watson joins me next.
From the Seabrook.
Segment of Mornings with Richard Cross is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
All right, now to the important stuff.
Your VIP pass to hear what the most influential Mississippians are talking about.
This is very important. Huge news.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Peter Gabriel bringing us back here on Super Talk Mississippi and streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm. It's Mornings with Richard Cross. Scott Sands. C-Spire text line open as well at 601-879-4395. You can find me on X at Scott Sands Media. Secretary of State Michael Watson is joining me now. It's great to have you on, sir. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, my friend. Always a pleasure.
So just to continue our conversation I was having with Lance last hour, do you prefer a slug burger or a dough burger?
You know, I've had a slug burger, so...
See, he's got the same issue. He's got the same issue. He's a coast boy. He's more like shrimp and, you know, a grouper and all that. So.
Yeah, see, I had no idea what a slug burger was when I was talking about the Slug Burger Festival, which sounds like a lot of fun and may need a nap after a couple of those slug burgers. But I growing up on the coast, I don't think I ever had one.
Yeah. So I was up in Corinth and at the oldest, I believe it was the oldest active pharmacy in the state, and had a slug burger there. So I know exactly what that is.
Somebody's going to have to send me one. So there was a big story this week, Secretary of State Michael Watson, about a settlement with some brokerage firms, and this involved many other states other than just Mississippi. I'm currently technically unemployed. I appreciate the opportunity to sit in for Richard here on Super Talk Mississippi, but while I've got time sitting in my home office, I'll often day trade. So this caught my attention. I don't think I'm getting these brokerage fees that a lot of people are doing. We're talking about pennies on the dollar every transaction, but some people are getting charged $10, $20, $30, $40 or more for some of these transactions with brokerage firms.
That's right. And this was, as you mentioned there, multiple states involved in this investigation. A big thanks to Eric Slee, Catherine, and our team in the Securities Division of the Secretary of State's office. They are just consummate pros and appreciate their hard work. But Edward Jones, LPL Financial, RBC, Stifel, and TD Ameritrade were involved in this one. And as you mentioned, they're basically charging unreasonable commissions on small dollar transactions. And so for folks who aren't familiar, sometimes when you have an equity transaction, it could be split up to where maybe only one or two shares of a company is traded on a single transaction, but that would incur a minimum charge. So instead of your entire transaction, they would break it up and get that minimum charge on each of the single transactions, the pieces of the transaction. So ultimately, they charged about $19 million over our 5-year investigation, $19 million to process just over 1 million small dollar equity transactions. So that wound up being much more than what we see. If you have a pattern of 5% or less at times, and this comes from guidance from FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. If you see a pattern there of 5% or less, sometimes that typically is frowned upon, and they were in excess of 5% of the principal value of each of these transactions. So that added up. They're going to be fined, and the total fines will be just north of $9 million. And those who were impacted will get their money back plus 6% interest. So it was a good settlement on our part, and again, appreciate the work of our team at the Secretary of State's office.
So how many states are involved in this suit, and any idea yet what Mississippi's cut of that may be, and how many Mississippians may have been affected by these overcharges?
Yeah, good question, and we don't have that pinpointed yet. The number of states, again, I can't recall off the top of my head, but multiple states involved. And sometimes, and I think that's an important piece here, you may have something going on in one state and the other state's not aware. And that's the reason why we talk amongst ourselves and between secretaries, between securities divisions, and each of us have national organizations that we deal with back and forth. So the communication there is key. And what they may find happening in Alabama or Tennessee or California, wherever, oh my gosh, it's happening here too. And now that we've got the investigation, we can dig into the facts. So working hand in hand with other states has been really important for us. And when we have specific issues like this, it shows the proof in the pudding.
So who do you think has been mostly affected by this? Is it small retail day traders like me? Is it people who are shuffling money in their 401ks and retirement accounts and IRAs? Who's getting hit hardest?
Who they were kind of hitting.
Does that lower investor confidence, and is there concern about holding some of these companies accountable?
I think when we have settlements like this, my hope is that it increases investor confidence because they know they've got a watchdog at Secretary of State's office looking out for their dollars and their investments. And it's same to be said in other states, but I like to brag on my team. They're really good. So I hope that it would, let people know, hey, we actually are looking out for your investments and your dollars. And when we see something that's going around, we're gonna bring them to justice.
What else is the state doing? What else can your office do and the Securities Commission do to hold these companies accountable and protect retail investors in the state?
So we do several different things. Obviously, we deal with broker-dealers. We deal with licensing issues. We deal with, you name it, when it comes across the board with securities. We're the chief in the state. We work with, our partners at the Attorney General's office, local DA's office, you name it, U.S. Attorney. We sit on a couple of different entities with federal partners as well. So we've got a broad reach, and we've got a couple of folks in our team that are on the National Association as well. So people have seen the activities in the state of Mississippi. They know that we mean business and that we're professionals. So they pick up on that and say, look, will you come help us with a national organization so we can guide other states to be as effective as you are. So, I could talk a lot about the team and what they're doing, but just proud of them.
As somebody who makes these transactions every day, this is something important and something to be aware of when you're trading in some of these securities and stocks, because you could definitely get overcharged and not even realize it till after the transactions are made.
Well, that's right, and it's also important that you guys help us to get on air and talk about it to make sure people know we're watching out for them.
We're talking to Mississippi Secretary of State Michael Watson. I'm following you on X, Michael Watson, MS, and you're talking about a bunch of other things that I think are very important for Mississippi, too. You retweeted from Missouri, one of the states that is moving towards banning foreign funding of ballot issue campaigns. I've seen this in Ohio, where we had millions of dollars in outside money coming in to influence state constitutional amendment issues for legalizing marijuana on the abortion issue. Outside money is coming in to push some of these liberal agenda issues.
That's exactly right. And unfortunately, there are loopholes in when people want to have an impact, they research the law, and if they can find a loophole to fit through, then they'll do it. This is one that's a great example and one that we have here in Mississippi. So people realize that foreign entities or individuals are not supposed to send campaign dollars to campaigns, but there is a loophole where if they're doing an initiative, that they can, in fact, invest in those initiatives and try to get those passed in different states. So we had some legislation last year targeting that to try to ban it. Was not successful, but we're going to bring that back and hopefully get it done next year. And I think, Scott, that's one of the things that is important for secretaries around the country when it comes to elections. You've got to review the whole election code to find out where these loopholes are. And when you see some kind of activity going on in one state, well, gosh, let me see whether or not they can do that in my state. And Ohio was a great example, as you mentioned there. Once we saw that, we started looking at ours, and again, same loophole was there. So we've got to close that loophole, and we will. Kirkpatrick and his team, just a fantastic job in the elections division. But that is one thing that we're talking to the legislature about. Again, I had some legislation last year, didn't get through, but hopefully we can push that through this year. So proud of my friends in Missouri that got that done, and other states that are following their lead. So hopefully we can get on that as well.
And it's all part of a larger conversation about protecting election integrity. Had a conversation, Lance and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, the New York mayoral election, which utilized ranked choice voting with Zohan Mamdani, and we see this in Alaska, but other states are starting to ban ranked choice voting, which I got to be, as I tried to explain it, in theory, it's not a horrible idea, but the results are god-awful.
That's right. And thankfully, the legislature listened to us on that when we did ban ranked choice voting in Mississippi, but you're exactly right. You can kind of sit back and have a 30,000 foot, discussion on it and say, well, maybe that makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, especially in the primary, there might be a couple of guys that I like more than a couple of other guys or gals running in the primary. But when you get to the general, I mean, the results could be atrocious.
Yeah, when you get down to the specifics of it and how it operates, and the different problems that you have with it, the ballot confusion, if somebody doesn't fill out the entire rank list there, their vote ultimately is thrown out because they didn't choose down the road once you got to step 47 when you're going through the different numbers of candidates and ranked ballots. So it's in my opinion, it's another avenue from the left to confuse voters and try to maximize their input. But thankfully, that is banned.
Secretary of State Michael Watson, great to catch up with you.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Mornings with Richard Cross continues on SuperTalk Mississippi and streaming at supertalk.fm. I'm Scott Sands.
I think I'll be right here to stay. Well, the water keep churning while my poor heart is burning. Muddy water, take my pain away.
From the Bendable Glass.
Wake up, get up, and start your day right with Mornings with Richard Cross here on Super Talk, Mississippi.
Hey there, how y'all doing? Scott Sands in for Richard this morning. You can find me on X at Scott Sands Media. C-Spire text line open as well at 601-879-4395. Great opportunities today and this weekend to save money. Lance, today is the last day, I believe, for Amazon Prime Days.
Yeah.
And I have been pretty good this year. I have not bought anything off the Prime Day deals. In the past, I've also had a job and an income, but I have bought some stupid stuff on Amazon Prime Day before just because it popped up in my feed. I was cleaning out one of my gun bags and found 4 life straws that I remember buying years ago on Amazon Prime Day for no apparent reason. Do you know what a life straw is?
No. What a life straw?
It's this thing, a device that if you're ever, I don't know, stuck on Survivor or Naked and Afraid and you need water and you're out of water, you can dip the straw into a pond or a river and drink from the straw and it will clean out any of the toxins. Why I thought I would ever need one, let alone 4, I have no idea. But I have 4 and I'm not even sure if they've got an expiration date, but I'm just cleaning out one of my gun bags. I feel like, what do I have these? What am I going to do with this?
I would not trust that, but hey, not in the water areas that I'm like in the Delta, no. If you see that water and if you drink that out of some straw,
it's supposed to be able to clean out a swamp water. It's supposed to, I guess if you need water and you're stuck somewhere in the woods, that's a viable option of sorts.
I guess. I mean, that'll be I would be very skeptical trying that out of the gate. I might go with like a little bit of dirty water first just to see at what point, you start getting the bad belly.
I threw away, I bought this on Prime Day when I haven't played video games in years really, but for some reason, I remember buying this on Amazon Prime Day. I thought it would be a good idea to buy the Tony Hawk skateboard video game that came with a skateboard.
Yeah, you got the skateboard, the Tony Hawk board.
I've never skateboarded in my entire life. But I think at the time my rationale was, well, this might be exercise and help with balance. But I don't think I ever once played that video game, but I've got the Tony Hawk video game skateboard.
You still have it, huh?
I threw it away.
Okay.
I've spent
worth some money.
I've spent the months of of being unemployed, going through every room in my apartment, kind of getting rid of junk in case I have to.
You got to do that every so often, as they say.
Right.
Moving's always the worst ever. I don't
worst.
care. People can say remodeling a bathroom or a kitchen while you're living there. I can handle that. But moving, oh man, especially if you've been somewhere for 3 or 4 years, you just don't realize how much stuff.
Junk.
Yeah, it's just stuff.
It's just junk.
And then you got to clean up everything, and it's just like, no, I don't want to do this. This is terrible. But
the other way to save money today is the Mississippi sales tax holiday starting today, running through Sunday. It's earlier than usual and extended more than usual as well. During this weekend, 7% state taxes and 8% local taxes waived on clothing, footwear, and school supplies priced under $100 per item. So that would mean things like backpacks, notebooks, pencils, shirts, pants, shoes, uniforms, all excluded. I don't think it works for things like computers and phones, some of the bigger ticket items, but as you're getting ready for back to school time, which will be here before you know it, really an opportunity to save some money, and it should stimulate local retailers as well. Buy and shop local whenever you can. I'm not even sure if schools have released their school list yet, but you generally know what school supplies you generally need as you get ready for back to school time.
Oh yeah, I mean, at this point, if you've done it before, you kind of have a good idea what's coming, right?
Yeah, and the clothes are always the big deal because kids are always growing out of their clothes, and school uniforms, things like that. Scout uniforms, I think, are eligible for this as well.
I don't know if you were a kid, but like we didn't have all the choices that you have today in clothes. Not that it was, paltry or anything, but I mean, you didn't have Amazon. You couldn't get stuff off Temu and for $2. You know what I'm saying? It was you had to go to Gap or to Dillard's or McRae's or something like that. And here in Central Mississippi, I'm sure we had pretty good selections. But those that didn't have the malls and places like that, I remember wearing the same golf shirt for like 4 years after. It was like I had stuff in college that I'd had in like 15, 16 years old. I was still wearing. So yeah, we didn't like cycle through clothing as much back then. I don't remember.
Well, I got to tell you, one of this has been a curse and a blessing of losing 100 pounds in the past year. Is all of my clothes are really baggy, but for the first time in more than a decade, I can actually buy clothes off of Amazon, which are much less expensive than having to go to the fat kid store.
There you go.
You have to buy when you're buying 3X and 4X shirts. I think they're charging you a little bit more for the extra material.
Or you can go to the Indian gas stations, man. They got like those 8X shirts for like $5, and they're big enough to fit like a kid. You're like, what is an 8X in India? I don't know, but
I just had to buy a smaller pair of jeans, and I'm able to buy jeans online for like $20 now, as opposed to $70 at the fat kid store at DXL. So I'm very not happy about having to spend more money, but happy that I can save some money when I have to go buy clothes. Weird tangent, I know. More on Super Talk Mississippi next. Fox News.
You're waking up to what's happening. Mornings with Richard Cross. Right now on Super Talk Mississippi.
Hey there, how y'all doing? Thanks for letting me sit in for Richard this morning on Super Talk Mississippi and streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm. I'm Scott Sands on X at Scott Sands Media. Later this hour, Hattiesburg Mayor Toby Barker will join us. We'll talk about this new curfew in effect in the city of Hattiesburg. Love to hear your thoughts on that on the C-Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Right now, though, we're joined by the executive director of the Mississippi Arts Commission. David, it's great to see you. David Lewis is joining us now. David, how are you?
Doing great. Thrilled to be here this morning. Thanks for having me.
Big announcement this week for the Mississippi Arts Commission and for the state from the Levitt Foundation. Let's start off there and explain what this is going to allow the Arts Commission to do.
Absolutely. So this is one of our first public art grants, but it's pretty all-encompassing. We really wanted to look at opportunities for collaboration across a lot of fields: tourism, economic development, main streets, and as well as live performances. So we had an opportunity with the Levitt Foundation to take building a piece of public art, and then equipping communities, our small and rural communities is our focus, but all communities are eligible, to be able to build that piece of public art, whether it's an archway or a sculpture, and then activate it for 3 years with a concert series in their town.
I think that's one of the things that really adds and contributes to the quality of life aspect around the state. Some of these smaller music festivals, an opportunity to bring the family out for live music, for entertainment, get out of the house and do something fun.
Absolutely. It's a great way, like you said, to increase quality of life for our wonderful communities across the state. But it's also an opportunity to showcase really a lot of Mississippi's talent. In each and every one of our communities, creativity is bursting at the seams. And so this is an opportunity to showcase that, to bring people from surrounding communities, maybe from the coast to the Delta, from the Delta to the coast, and then from surrounding states to come check out what each and every city in Mississippi has to offer.
What about the art aspect of this? Are we talking about just murals? Are you talking about statues?
Yeah, it's pretty open-ended. A lot of murals are throughout our towns, so we'd love to see things that are more three-dimensional that can still incorporate muralists or mural artists, but we want to activate space. It's going to be a public space that people can access, freely, but it's also going to be something that we want to be pretty dynamic, pretty colorful, pretty exciting. So it could be a gateway arch over your main street welcoming you into downtown. It could be an alleyway that's been abandoned that you might bring to life with color or string lights. Or it could be a sculpture that represents something in your community that means a lot to that community.
And I think this really can help stimulate the economy in some areas and revitalize some downtown areas, activate some parks that are maybe underutilized, and really bring people back into the cities that are going to benefit from the Levitt Foundation grants.
Absolutely. We have seen time and time again when a community invests in something dynamic and exciting and new like a piece of public art, it's not only a more affordable way to introduce the community back into a space that may have been forgotten, but it's also a way to really project a very bright future for that community. It's something that will turn heads, that will get people in that space. And, somebody might be in that space and then dream about the building next door and say, you know what, I've always wanted to open up that coffee shop. I've always wanted to have my own restaurant or my own boutique shop. And so we've seen time and time again when public art or arts come into a community and really invest in it, that is followed by other economic development.
Yeah, so are there any beneficiaries of the grants set up yet, or is this just so new that you haven't lined those up yet?
This is the first time we have gone out for this grant. We're going to award 2 grantees this year. Right now, people can go online. Communities that are interested can go online to arts.ms.gov and apply through our letter of intent phase. That's our first phase of this. This is going to allow us to be able to just make sure the organization that's applying is eligible. But then from there, all eligible organizations and communities will be invited to a full application that will happen in August, and then that will review those applications.
Are you working with other partners like Visit Mississippi, the Main Street Association, to really maximize the impact of this grant program?
You hit the nail on the head right there. We have Visit Mississippi as well as Main Street Mississippi both contributing funds to the creation of that piece of public art alongside the commission. And then we also have partners with the Humanities Council and the Fred Carl Jr. Carl Smalltown Center up in Mississippi State in Starkville, working to get communities to have great conversations with each other, to be able to talk about what it is that community wants to see happen on that site, what kind of public art, what is the content of it. They're going to be partnering with us on that. And then the Levitt Foundation is our partner alongside the commission to do the concert series for those 3 years at each community.
And that's really, you're opening the door to all sorts of public conversations because nobody has the same opinion about what kind of music they like, or what's good music, what's good art. I certainly love music, but I have no taste for like art and the murals and statues that are popping up. I'm not that guy.
Well, I think that's not necessarily something, if somebody hears that and says, I'm not that guy, I think that doesn't preclude you from being in that conversation. We want anyone and everyone in those conversations. I think those types of community conversations are more important now than ever for us to come together around something that is exciting, something that can really reflect our own community. But then also, for the music standpoint, the Levitt Foundation is very adamant about having a diverse lineup of genre. So there will be something for everybody at these concert series.
We're talking to David Lewis from the Mississippi Arts Commission. Tell everybody what the commission does and the role that you play in the state. I mean, obviously, we've had a lot of focus in Mississippi over educational advancements and new technology, new companies that have decided to relocate to the state, economic growth through eliminating the state income tax. These are all important aspects, but the cultural impact of the state is also very important to our development and growth.
Absolutely. I often tell people you can't talk about Mississippi without talking about the arts at some point. We have so many wonderful people who have come out of Mississippi or still are in Mississippi who are extraordinary performers, artists, writers, you name it. They're in television, they're in film, and they're come from Mississippi, and a lot of them really own it. And so at the commission, we're a state agency, and we really focus on granting and programming. We really support arts organizations like museums and ballets, but we also support organizations that do arts programming, like an event, like the Natural Science Museum might have an event with the symphony. They, in fact, do, and we give them a grant to do that. But we also support artists directly through fellowships, through mini grants to help them get supplies or go to a conference to really hone their skills. So we're supporting the industry of artists and creatives that are in Mississippi. So that's what we do a lot with both the money we get from the federal and state government. We're very lucky to be able to be very supportive from the state legislature. They're very supportive of our agency. And we have the joy of being able to be in the arts in an everyday, because there's some remarkable work being done in this state.
You know, it's interesting you talk about the federal and state money you get as there's a lot of focus on reducing spending and where our tax money is going. Is there concern that some of those funds could be cut? How much do you rely on private donations and grants like this one?
Like I said, most of our funds come from state and federal. We do a little bit of private fundraising for a big event that we do, the Governor's Awards, which celebrates the very best artists across our state. But most of our funds, especially the ones that we direct right back to the Mississippians and back into Mississippi pockets, are those that come from the state and federal government. And we are in conversations constantly with our state legislators and our federal elected officials to make sure that they are really proud of and know of the work that we do and the ways that we grant it. We're really proud of that work, and we're really excited about the ways that people are able to use those dollars. They're a very small percentage of the general dollars that go out, but the very small percentage of taxpayer dollars that we use to the absolute maximum impact. In fact, our return on investment ratio is roughly $1 to $21, which is pretty remarkable, because the events that we do, they take what is a $5,000 grant for an event and is part of a much bigger picture of let's say, an event like Double Decker in Oxford or Cruising the Coast on the coast. Now, those may not be two examples of actual grantees of ours. They have been in the past, but different types of events across the state really use the dollars that we give to be able to leverage and get great talent and to be able to support the event, each year that they do it to make it at its absolute best.
I'm going to put you on the spot here in our last minute, David. Who are some of your favorite artists right now that we should know about in Mississippi?
I think some of my favorite, I'll give you two. One is Cedric Burnside. He's become a great friend, but he's doing some amazing work. And then the other is the Rising Stars Fife and Drum Band. The duo that runs this 90-year-old band now is Sharday Thomas and Chris. They are both, Sharday is the granddaughter of the man who founded the Rising Stars Fife and Drum Band. And they are keeping that legacy alive and training the next generation. They have an event up in North Mississippi called Goat Picnic. If you're ever in the area towards the end of August, get up there. You won't regret it one moment.
I love hearing that. David Lewis, Mississippi Arts Commission here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Great to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
Hattiesburg Mayor Toby Barker next here on Mornings with Richard Cross.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Waking up Mississippi. From South Haven to Scuba, it's Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. I'm Scott Sands. Sports Talk Mississippi will be in Corinth today for the annual Slugburger Festival. It's a fun day of music, fun, and of course, the Slugburgers we were talking about earlier today. Hattiesburg Mayor Toby Barker is joining me on SuperTalk Mississippi. Mayor, it's great to see you or have you on the show. How are you?
Doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you ever have a Slugburger?
I have not.
I had not either. I'm a coast guy and lived in Hattiesburg. Apparently, Lance told me it's a North Mississippi thing, but it sounds delicious.
They do a lot of things interesting up there in the north part of the state.
So, I think Lance told you off the air. We had a text on the C-Spire text line from somebody thinking about moving to Hattiesburg. I loved my time in your city, and you've got a lot of great things happening that should bring more people into the city.
Yeah, it's been a really fun few years, and we have just so many things going on, whether it's an outstanding job market, 2 universities, both of which are doing very well, a lot of athletics that you can be part of, whether it's going to a Southern Miss baseball game or whether if you have kids watching them play out at Tatum Park. And the quality of life is just unmatched right now, and we're just super excited about the future and developments we have coming in.
Yeah, it's unfortunately not all sunshine and roses, and one of the things I wanted to talk with you about today, Mayor, was this curfew that you've imposed this week in Hattiesburg. Like many cities across the country and across the state, I mean, we saw incidents over the weekend and this week in Jackson and on the coast. You've had to put a curfew into effect. Why? What's the rationale behind this? What have you seen in an increase in violence and other issues, especially among the youth in Hattiesburg?
Well, I'll just preface it with this. I mean, Hattiesburg is an incredibly safe city, and over the past 4 or 5 years, we've seen violent crime decrease year after year. However, things are cyclical, and so you have sometimes a little spike that comes up, and while no crime is acceptable, you want to make sure that you're quickly responding, particularly when you have several in a small day period. Sometimes when school is out, our youth can get into trouble, and while we have a lot of programs as a community, we can't police them, nor should we police them 24 hours a day. I mean, a lot of that's on the parents. And so we've had a curfew. Our current curfew's been in place since 1994. We've had curfews of different types going back into the 70s. But we are taking a more proactive, zero-tolerance stance in enforcing that now. We're trying to get this under control. We'd like to get to when school starts, which typically is when you start seeing some of this sort of petty crime and even violent crime go down.
So was there a specific incident or a trend that you saw that made this decision faster than maybe you had planned?
Well, we've had some auto burglaries, things like some grand larcenies. But then over the weekend, we did have 4 shootings in a period of 3 days. And we had an incident out in Lamar County outside the city. We had one over in Forest County, and there was a gathering of people in Forest County that then spilled over into the city. And so we're working to try and stifle that. It's not all our youth; it's several things, and so trying to use as many tools as we have. But the youth curfew is obviously one of those. We want our young people to be safe. We want them home at a certain hour, so they can avoid having to be in a dangerous situation.
Are there concerns, or can you point to perhaps gang activity as being because more and more kids, unfortunately, are deciding to make the poor life choice of getting involved with some of these gangs. I remember when I lived in Hattiesburg, I think it was maybe Chief Hardy Simpson. You were probably in like elementary school at the time when I was on the radio in Mississippi. But the gang task force at Hattiesburg Police was initiated, and I went on several ride-alongs and was surprised in the 90s at how quickly gangs were forming in the city.
Well, I think that you look around any city in the state of any considerable size, there's always going to be gang activity. And so you try to make sure that doesn't manifest into violent crimes or other situations. And so Our chief of police has done a great job with putting together a plan in collaboration with Forest County Sheriff and Lamar County Sheriff, because we do sit in two counties, to try and stifle that. And yes, it is an issue. Usually, they're not that active. But when you have incidents like this past weekend, again, not just one incident, but several in a period of a few days, you want to do everything you can to make sure that you're creating a safe environment and holding people accountable.
So what are the details of the curfew? What measures are in place to make sure that it's enforced consistently and fairly across the city?
So Sunday through Thursday, our youth under 18 need to be at home by 11 p.m. And then Friday and Saturday it's at midnight. Again, that was already on the books. We're just making sure that's being enforced now. I know that our friends in Petal are doing a similar situation, and I know Forest County and Lamar County are starting to have those conversations. And so if one of our officers finds someone who is out past curfew, they will take them to the police station and hold them there until their guardian can come over there and get them. In addition to that, we're also doing some very heavy saturation details across the city and made several arrests in the last 24 hours. And so trying to get this violence to stop. Again, we're a safe city and we've had reasonably good numbers this year, but you want to do everything you can to be as safe as possible. I have a philosophy with our team: don't let small things become big things. I know Oxford Mayor Robin Tannehill has a similar philosophy up there. And so it's not just police enforcement, it's code enforcement. It's trying to do everything you can to make sure when you see little things that pop up that they don't grow into bigger things.
We're talking to Hattiesburg Mayor Toby Barker here on SuperTalk Mississippi. It doesn't really sound like there's a consequence other than being taken into the police station until your parent or guardian picks you up. Are there penalties for repeat curfew violators?
Well, on the second offense, then they'll be referred to youth court. And if the parent themselves is letting the youth get out willingly, then I think there's going to be some consequences for the parents too. But again, that would go into municipal court, youth court, beyond the purview of our police department.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it seems like, as you mentioned earlier, it needs to be a parental responsibility. And if parents are allowing their kids out at 2:00 in the morning where no good ever happens at that hour, then there should be some consequences for the parents as well.
Well, and our point is that, again, we provide more programming than we ever had in terms of parks and recreation. There are mentoring programs. There are so many things for our youth to do. Now, can we always do more? Of course. But in terms of making sure of knowing where your child is, knowing who they're with, knowing what they're doing, that falls on the parent and guardian. And we need our parents to step up. We need our neighborhoods to step up if they see something that's not right, to reach out to us before it becomes an issue.
So I think you announced this Wednesday. Obviously, it's been in place. You're just going to enforce it more strictly now. But what's the public reaction and response been?
I think the reaction's been overwhelmingly positive. I mean, everyone wants a safe community, regardless of what neighborhood, regardless of background. People want the same thing, and that's just to be safe, and they want their kids to come home safe too. And so it's been a very good reaction from the public. We hope that we're going to have a much better weekend this weekend and beyond. And again, we find that if we can get kids to the start of school, which for Hattiesburg Public Schools will be August 1st, in our county schools they go in a little bit earlier. But if we can get them to that date, typically you see a lot of this sort of petty crime and even some of the violent crime go down. Yeah, and as you mentioned, getting ready for back to school, just weeks away now. It's the sales tax free weekend in Mississippi. And a lot of small shops, hopefully in Hattiesburg and around the state, will benefit from people coming in to get ready for back to school time. Yes, right now, I mean, we go between the number 2 and number 3 sales tax producer in the state. Gulfport will usually take that title during the summer months of number 2. During the Christmas shopping season, Hattiesburg takes over number 2. But we have a very strong retail economy. And again, when you have lots of people coming in, we're a city of 50,000 people. But in the daytime, that swells to 150 or 175,000. So when people are coming in to get their health care, when people are coming to shop, when people are coming to go to school, you want them to feel safe as well. And I think all of these measures together create the system of accountability that holds people responsible for their behavior, and hopefully they'll step up and make sure their kids are behaving as well. And I do want to end on a high note, because I do love Hattiesburg and love my time in your city.
as you've got people listening and thinking about moving to Hattiesburg, what else is going on this summer in the city?
Well, I think we have the best city in the state of Mississippi, and I'm sure any mayor would say that about their town too, but I think we have a lot of evidence that backs that up here. There's a strong quality of life. There's great culture, great the arts, everything, great nightlife. Of course, in the summer, we have not only our Hattiesburg Zoo, but we also have a really great water park now in its second season. There are events every week for people who want to just have fun. And next week is Parks and Rec Week, and there'll be even more stuff going on next week. And so encourage folks to reach out to us, get in touch with Visit Hattiesburg, see what's going on this month, and pay us a visit.
Have I missed HubFest this year?
HubFest is the last Saturday in March.
I did miss it. It was always a great.
There's a great football game coming at the end of August with Mississippi State, and so we welcome our friends from the north part of the state down for what will be hopefully a great debut for our new head coach.
That'll be a great game. Mayor Toby Barker, it's great to see you again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
New Superman movie opens this weekend. We'll find out if it's any good or not. Michelle Pollino will join me next here on Super Talk Mississippi.
From the Want to know what's happening in Mississippi politics?
Yes.
You're in the right place. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
And I'm tired of taking blame when I ain't done nothing wrong. I'm tired of other people trying to take what's mine. And I'm tired of y'all playing dress up and trying to sing them old country songs.
Scott Sands in for Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi, streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm. Fox News Radio entertainment correspondent Michelle Pollino is joining me now. Michelle, great to see you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
So the big movie this weekend that I think a lot of people will be talking about, I know I've seen it all over my social media feeds the last couple of days, the new Superman. I'm not going to see it, just because I don't go to a lot of movies, but I'm hearing mixed reviews about this. Some people saying it's too woke, some people saying it's not. My problem is, to me, Christopher Reeves will always be Superman.
I know. He was the best Superman.
And there's so much CGI in these movies that I can't get into them.
Okay. Well, last night, we were planning on going. I was invited to a screening with my dog, and I was very excited. And I was so excited. Milkbone presents. And then my partner got sick, and I was just like, oh, man, okay. I guess I can't go. I was going to go even still, but then I just didn't. I felt bad. And so there it is.
So you haven't seen it yet. What are you hearing then? First of all, I want to go to a movie with everybody's dogs.
I'm hearing what you're hearing. I'm hearing mixed reviews. I know Dean Cain told TMZ the other day, he called it just this woke agenda because of a couple things. He does say in the film, truth, justice, and the American way, and the American way is kindness. So he expands this idea of Superman's always and forever statement, truth, justice, and the American way, and he expands it to truth, justice, and the American way, which is kindness. So that's kind of
weird.
That feels a little wokey. It does feel a little wokey. And then he also makes sure to make his storyline an immigration allegory because he's an alien.
He's an illegal immigrant.
He's an illegal alien. He's an illegal alien. And he makes the story about an immigration allegory and all about this really kind immigrant who people just don't like because he's weird. And it's, so that's what I'm hearing. That's the part of the mixed reviews that I'm hearing that people are not really jiving with.
But he does say truth, justice, in the American way. I had seen that it was changed to truth, justice, in the human way. But maybe that's not accurate.
Yeah, maybe that's maybe we're both. I don't know, but I think I think it might be. You might be right. You might be right. I know he's kindness. Kindness is in there too.
Right. The other aspect of it, have you seen the Trump memes today? Truth, justice, in the Trump way, with Donald Trump's face as Superman. The White House social media team is on top of stuff.
I love your social media team. You're going to have to tweet it out to me because I think that's hilarious. That's the best news I've heard this morning. Of course, it's the first news I've heard this morning.
Superman might be the only illegal immigrant that could not be contained by alligator Alcatraz. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, maybe Superman can help with the Epstein files because really,
right? His X-ray
vision. That's the only thing that matters right now.
we know that Superman was probably not on the Epstein plane because he can fly himself.
That's right. He didn't need to be.
There was a story this week too, as we're talking about movies like Superman, is the amount of commercials that theaters are playing before every movie. It's up to when I went to go see Mission Impossible, I think it was about 25 minutes of commercials and trailers. Yeah. AMC now at it. Was AMC the last holdout on this trend of showing so many commercials?
That's correct. They came out this week and said, sorry, but this is the only way we can make our money at this point because, theaters are not drawing the amount of people. Maybe make better movies, maybe demand better movies, but they're not drawing the crowds that they used to. And so they have to do at least a half hour of ads before the movie starts.
Well,
which is insane.
I think one of the Fandango or one of the apps where you can buy tickets in advance now, I think now tells you the actual time the movie will really start. So you can just skip all of those commercials now if you're going to go to the movies.
Yeah, you're going to have to time it out. Just say, okay, in order to get there, know that there's going to be 25 minutes of, and so, yeah.
I'll be done with all of the popcorn before the movie actually starts.
I'll be sitting at the bar.
Right. Just fine. I'll be right back. Michelle Pollino, Fox News Radio entertainment correspondent here on SuperTalk, Mississippi. One more movie story. It's the 50th anniversary of Jaws, one of the greatest movies ever made. And I think there's a behind-the-scenes look at the making of Jaws that's out now.
Yeah, on Nat Geo. On Nat Geo, there's a Jaws at 50. It looks really good. I did a story on it this week and looked at some preview clips. It talks about, number one, I had, all these years I had not known that movie was the first movie to actually film in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean. And they talk about how, the problems that it caused, the problems of Bruce, the shark,
right.
That just would, right, the shark that wouldn't work for them. And also how they shaped the script. If you're a real film fanatic, Jaws at 50 on Nat Geo is something you definitely want to check out. It is adapted from Peter Benchley's novel. And in the novel, there's a love interest. But Spielberg decided to cut it out and, and the big, protagonist and antagonist would be Chief Brody and Mother Nature. And that would kind of be his love interest and his battle at the same time.
And one of the greatest lines of a movie was actually an ad-lib. We're going to need a bigger boat was actually an ad-lib line.
Yeah. It was a great line. You remember Roy Schneider seeing the size of the shark. He was throwing chum into the water. And he sees the size of the shark. He walks backwards into the cabin with a cigarette banging out of his mouth. And he's like, we're going to need a bigger boat. It's a great line. Yeah.
And Lance and I talked about this earlier. We're talking about sharks. 12th anniversary of the very first Sharknado. Something I may have to see if it comes up on Sci-Fi today to celebrate the Sharknado. You and I have been talking. You know, I love Sharknado. Huge fan of that.
Been talking about Sharknado since it started.
I know. I love Sharknado. You and I have had a 12-year dialogue about Sharknado. It's silly. Big news.
And let's not forget Shark Week, which
next week.
Shark Week, which starts next week, right?
Next week. Big news from the concert world, Paul McCartney going back out on tour yet again. This guy is just unstoppable.
82 or 83 years old. And who's your favorite Beatle?
I would have to say Paul or John, obviously. I don't know that I have a favorite Beatle.
I always think that John was overrated. I think Paul McCartney is the greatest pop songwriter that ever lived. Like, the guy just continually puts out great pop songs, and he keeps on doing it. And his tour, which was started in 2022 and hasn't stopped, he's just like, we're just going to continue the 2022 tour. He's going to go all in what I like to call Middle Earth, the Middle States. He's going to stay right around Nashville, Denver, Ohio, New Orleans. He's going to hit all this area. He's not going to head to the coast. He's going to head up to Toronto. So he's also kicking it off in Palm Desert. It's going to be the first time that he's kicking off the concert there.
So. Oh, he's got all of this longevity because it's really not Paul. Paul died, and they replaced him with a clone.
Is that who he is? All right, fantastic. Yeah.
Michelle Pollino, Fox News Radio entertainment correspondent here on Super Talk Mississippi. We did, to everybody's great delight, we didn't even have a chance before the end of the segment to get to Love Island. The finale is Sunday, and that's where so many of your wives and girlfriends will be tied up Sunday watching Love Island.
It's the jam right now. Okay.
Love you, Michelle. Talk to you next week.
All right.
From the Venable Glass.
Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk, Mississippi. Welcome to the show. Wrapping up the Friday morning show with Richard Cross. I'm Scott Sands in for Richard, and Lance is here as well. Richard's back on Monday. Sports Talk Mississippi is in Corinth this afternoon for the Slugburger Festival, and then Monday, SEC Media Days from Atlanta here across Super Talk Mississippi and streaming everywhere at supertalk.fm. Lance, I mentioned at the end of the segment with Michelle, the Love Island finale is Sunday. Ooh. I'm sure you've never seen an episode of this, have you?
You've got me, man. That's over my head. Yeah, Love Island. Is that like couples and stuff?
Yeah, it is such a weird show. I've talked about how I'll just stumble across some garbage TV from time to time and leave it on while I'm doing work in the background just for background noise. But there's a bar in my building, and one of the girls who lives in the building convinced the bar to do Love Island viewing parties. So I went down. It's like me and 30 girls watching Love Island, which
I like those numbers.
Are good numbers as a single man. Yeah, I mean, the odds were in my favor, but I had no idea what was happening. But
you learned quickly, though, because the conversations, they filled you in, didn't they?
Yeah. I could ask questions along the way. And the women, and that's, I don't know if you're watching at home, and so many of your wives and girlfriends will be watching the finale Sunday night. But you put a bunch of women together watching the show, and it becomes like watching the crowd watch a football game, because they're as a couple hooks up or breaks up or says something, they're just the oohs and ahs. I just found it hysterical.
It's like a long fly ball that warning track power. Everybody goes woo, and then it dies.
Like watching
down.
a car wreck, and so many weird phrases have come out of this. Like I've learned that we're cut off means that you're a couple. Going to pull you for a chat is the big thing that they say when they want to talk to find out where your head's at. It's high drama. It's The Bachelor with
sounds
12 couples, I think, started off, and somebody wins $100,000, which I mean, yes, I would love $100,000, but it's like, what, 6 months of your life you never get back on the island?
$100K, I don't know about that.
Find any true
first of all,
love.
You're not going to. Yeah, it's all kind of staged to begin with, and two, then you get your head shrunk constantly for 6 months.
Oh man,
for $100K, no, I think I can live without that $100,000.
The psychological impact of being on something like that has got to be studied at some point.
I would never recover.
But that's Sunday night. I'll probably watch it because after going to two of the Love Island viewing parties. It's on Peacock. Streams on Peacock. Sunday night. I'm invested now after going to two of these viewing parties and want to see.
Well, you kind of need to be. It's like book club. If you show up and you didn't read the book, you could be ostracized. And with 30 women to one man, you probably want to read the book, just to make sure that you're still in the group there.
Yeah.
Great idea.
That's why I've always read Cosmo. It's like getting your hands on the other team's playbook.
Yeah. Having a sister and a mom, they had those, the Red Book and Cosmo. I learned a lot, from cracking those things open and going, what's in here? The entertainment ones aren't near as fun, though.
No. This weekend is something that I remember fondly from my high school days. It's the 40th anniversary of the 1985 Live Aid concert. Lance, I think you've got some highlights from 1985.
Got it right here, baby.
This is dedicated to Bob Geldof. This is called Don't You Forget About Me.
Don't you forget about me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to London, to Wembley and Live Aid. Will you meet and greet David Bowie? Just for one day.
She's great. She's hot. She's a lot like a virgin. She's Madonna. Come on, people, put your hands together.
Back on the chain gang. How about it? The Mighty Pretenders. Here's a truly legendary rock and roll band. Peter Townsend, Roger Daltrey, John Ellis, and Kenny Jones. Please welcome the Who. At no expense whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen, Elton John. She packed my bags last night to fly. I'm going to introduce a friend of mine now who's going to sing one of my songs. Mr. George Michael.
Uh-oh.
Perhaps the greatest musical pop culture moment of my lifetime, and so many great performances by icons in the music industry at Live Aid.
Yeah, and you don't hear about the starvation factor over there. I mean, apparently it had an impact, even if at the time, wasn't that the one about Ethiopia or Somalia?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, apparently they did some good work.
Big special on CNN commemorating the 40th anniversary of Live Aid this weekend as well. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Lance, Will, and Alex, everybody, for letting me sit in Friday mornings for Richard Cross here on SuperTalk Mississippi. You can find me on X at Scott Sands Media. Have a great weekend, and thank you all for contributing to the 13th annual Radiothon for the Palmer Home for Children yesterday. More than $336,000 raised yesterday. Just an amazing effort for a great cause of the state of Mississippi. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Thanks, Lance.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.